I've had a lot of people ask me what it's like being a woman in finance, and I'm going to answer that today here in this video. As a lot of you may know, finance is a very male-dominated field, especially in high finance. And in corporate finance, it's more 50-50 or maybe 60-40, with 60 being the men. I went to a very large state school, and in my finance classes, there are about 60 students per class, and only 10% of the students in the classes were female, including myself. Now, working in the field, I worked in a very small office. I was the only female analyst, and the only other female working in that office was the office manager. Do I believe that women get discriminated against in finance? Yeah, I do. A lot of men will argue and disagree that women don't get discriminated in finance, but I don't believe any of them have ever been asked, why don't you just go get married? I was asked by a finance professor at my school, why don't you just get married? Which was completely embarrassing and not something that a man would ever be asked. And men aren't the only ones doing the discrimination. Women, especially older women in the field, definitely discriminate. In fact, I had some of my worst work experiences with other women in finance, with them asking inappropriate questions and swearing. I won't repeat what words were used at me by these other women, especially when I was going for internships. I had this one woman ask me, she was the owner of this wealth management firm. She asked me, what would you do if I called you a bleep, bleep, bleep? And I just sat there and laughed and sat there in amazement that this woman asked me this. I would say overall, men were more friendly with me than females in finance, but that's just the nature of the finance industry. There's just more men out there, so statistically I would have more good relationships with men, number of relationships with men, than with women, since there are so few women in finance. There are definitely men in the field who want to see more women in the field, who are progressive thinkers, who want more women in the field. And I had this one guy who brought up, I have an 8-year-old daughter. When she becomes old enough, I want her to think finance is a good field for her to go in. He didn't want finance to be a good old boys club. And then you're also going to find the guys who don't want that to change. They want it to be the good old boys club. That's all they've known. That's all they want it to be. I've had one person ask me, how has your experience with male to female ratios affected ability to network? That's kind of a loaded question, because each person that you're trying to network with is going to be their own individual person with their own individual beliefs. But overall, I think it's overall easier to network as a woman in finance, because you're a little bit more of a rare find, and just the nature of men being men, they want to talk to women, so that makes a little bit easier to network in finance. But there's also going to be the men and women who really don't want anything to do with you, because they're judging you on first appearances, if you're meeting them in person, or if you're reaching out and trying to network via LinkedIn. They're judging you on your profile picture, on what you have on your profile, and your past experiences where you went to school. So yeah, if we were going to compare apples to apples and compare a 4.0 or close to student, a male and a female, and let's say the female is very attractive, I would say that they have an equal chance of networking and getting a connection and possibly getting a job. Say the woman isn't very attractive, or is an average looker, she would have a harder time against that 4.0 male student than the attractive woman. And this not as attractive woman would have to stand out in some other way or form some other kind of connection with the interviewer or the people who would be potentially hiring her. Just because you are a woman or you are an attractive woman doesn't mean you're going to have a better chance at networking and getting a job versus a man. It really depends if you can be the overall perfect package for whoever is hiring you, and who the firm is, and who the person is doing the interviewing at the end of the day. I'm seeing more and more women being interested in a career in finance, which is great. And with that, I see, the ratio being more in the favor of women and more opportunities becoming available to women, as long as women are willing to be allies to each other and not, letting cattiness get in the way and letting there be discrimination against our own kind. I don't feel being female gave me an advantage of networking and getting a job in finance. If anything, being female at times was a disadvantage because people underestimate you, feel comfortable enough to ask you inappropriate questions and make inappropriate remarks against you, which I really hope to see change in the future, and more prosecution for people who do those things and not just giving them a slap on the wrist. For the ladies out there who want to pursue a career in finance, my advice for you is to stay strong, stay optimistic, and be aware of people out there who want to underestimate you, who want to take advantage of you, who will push boundaries if you allow them, and do not be afraid to speak up against people who do those kinds of things. Talk to HR. Do not be afraid to blow the whistle. Ladies, do not rely on just your looks or the fact that you're female. Definitely go out there and be presentable. Do not be afraid to network. Read all you can. Make sure you get good grades, and make sure your Excel skills are on point. Which, to bring up the fact that most universities do not teach you adequate Excel skills. So you should definitely check out Wall Street Oasis and take their courses. Link down below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like. If you're not already subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. You should hit that subscribe button down below. And until next time, I'll see you around in another one of my videos. See you later.